Hi there, welcome to Subpar Stitches. My name is Hillary, and this is my FlossTube channel. So today I'm going to be bringing you my 2025 stats, my 2026 plans, and my current WIP parade. I don't think I've ever done a WIP parade. If I have, it's long gone from my memory, so I don't know where that went. But I will be doing a WIP parade, and I just figured I wanted to do like a stats and plans video separately, but I just realized it was going to be really short, so I figured I would just tack it onto the front of this WIP parade for you guys. If you want to skip it, I will have everything timestamped down below. And as far as like the WIP parade goes, I will try to link every single thing I mention down in the Dropbox, so if there's a pattern that you're interested in, you'll be able to click that link. Before I hop into all of that though, I just want to give a quick introduction of myself because I know that a lot of people find new floss tubers through WIP parades. So I figured I would just give a quick intro to myself. So my name is Hillary. I have been cross-stitching since I was about 18 when I started college. And I was a knitter long before that. I started knitting when I turned 11. I've always been really into crafts. I really like weird, kind of goofy, unusual things. Although you will see a few classic things scattered here and there throughout. I'm going to address the fact that I look very red right now, and I don't know. I'm always very like self-conscious about how red I look because I have rosacea, and ever since I was a kid, people are like, "Oh, you're embarrassed," and I'm like, "No, this is just my skin color. Like I can't help it." But I just took a shower, like a hot shower, and dried my hair, and was like getting all this stuff around, and I have rosacea, so I'm just like, I look like a lobster right now. Don't worry about it, it's fine. I live in the Detroit metro area. I unfortunately work in the automotive industry. Dying to not be doing that anymore, especially with how bad it is right now. And yeah, pretty much all I do for fun is cross stitch. I like video games. I've been trying to play more video games recently. I unfortunately recently started playing Fortnite. I don't know why I did that to myself. But yeah, I like anything colorful or strange, and that's really what it comes down to. So let's hop into my 2025 stats. This is actually the first year that I've used Notion for the entire year to track my stats. Before that, I had just started using the Notion like partially through 2024, so I couldn't really give like any legit stats there. I have a computer right here to look at all my stuff, but in the year of 2025, I stitched 265,378 stitches, which is insane. I did break that down. That's on average 727 stitches a day, which is kind of nuts to me. And I'm like, maybe I should do literally anything else with my day. But I, so far in 2026, have not been doing literally anything else. So we're on track for another crazy year, boys. In 2025, I started 81 different projects, and I finished 42 different projects, and I currently have a total of 47 WIPs. Actually, I have 48, but there's one I can't show you because it's a like table gift for a stitch retreat that I'm going to in the first quarter of this year. The month I've forgotten. I don't know. The breakdown of those WIPs is I have 2 projects from 2023, I have 8 projects from 2024, and I have 37 projects from 2025, and that's because last year I was starting a new project every week, a minimum of 1 new project every week. Sometimes I would start more, just for fun, just for something to do, and those older projects, we'll get into it in plans, but my goal is to knock some of those out. So if I look at my stitching stats from month to month last year, it's kind of interesting. You can see in February, I had the absolute lowest. And then in, it looks like December, I had the absolute highest. So it makes sense to me that in February, my stitches like tanked. I had 8,635 stitches. Every other month I was over 10 or even over 20,000 stitches in the month. But I got married last March, and actually I got married twice last March. I had to plan 2 separate weddings. One was like a religious wedding, and then one was like a public with everybody wedding. And that was a lot of work. So in February, it's also the shortest month. So like, but my stitches really tanked that month. And then December, I actually have 2 solid weeks off from work. So it just makes sense that that was like the highest ranking of my stitches. I think data is really interesting. I'm not used to like putting it all together at this phase of my life. I've been out of school for a while, so I don't know like what other data points really matter to people. I guess I probably could have taken a look at FFOs, but I don't track when I FFO something. I only track when I finish something. So don't have that data for you, but that is just a quick kind of stats from 2025. And so now let's talk real quick about my plans for 2026, and then we'll get into the WIP parade. So in 2025, I had a new start every single week. And in 2026, I now have like a new way I want to cycle through my projects, at least for the year, or at least until I determine whether or not it works for me. So basically, I went through and I rated all of my WIPs as either a small, medium, or large sized project. Small, it's very arbitrary on how I did this. So small is anything that's less than 10,000 stitches, with a couple exceptions, because smalls are the ones I'm going to be bringing to work. So if it's something that was less than 10,000 stitches but is really annoying to work on at work, I rated that to be a medium. So for example, my colors of summer, winter, fall, those are all just under 10,000 stitches, but they're on 40 count and they're just not fun to work on when I'm not using a stand. So I would rather those be considered medium-sized projects so I can work on them when I allot my medium time. So smalls, 10,000 or less. Medium is anything between 10, and I think, did I say 50,000 stitches? I think I said medium was between 10 and 50,000 stitches, but I don't have, most of my mediums are around the like 15 to 30,000 stitch mark. And I have not so many medium projects. Mostly I have small projects, which makes tracks for me. I really like smalls. I don't know. I like a really monstrous project or a really tiny project. The medium projects, I don't know. And then my large was anything beyond what a medium would be. So I have only 3 large projects that are currently in my rotation. And I don't intend to start any more large projects until I knock out at least one of these. And actually the very first WIP in my WIP parade will be one of the large projects. But I have set aside, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and tentatively Thursday is my large project day. And if I get the allotted, like I have like a goal of 2,000 stitches a week on the large projects. So if I hit the 2,000 stitches by Wednesday, I can either do an extra day Thursday, or I can just do whatever I want on Thursday if I don't feel like working on the large project anymore that week. And then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday was my new start days from last year. That's going to be dedicated to my medium-sized projects. And then Monday through Friday when I'm at work, I will bring a small project with me. And the goal is to go through, I hope this makes sense as I'm explaining it, but my goal is to go through my projects in chronological order so that I can knock out some of those oldest projects. So I'm starting with my oldest small, my oldest medium, and oldest large project, and I'm cycling through. So I've already finished my oldest small project this year at work, the first week of work, because I'm filming this on the 9th because I was being lazy. I was going to film this on New Year's Day, but I was too busy eating cheese and watching movies. So didn't get that done. But once I finish, the oldest small, then I go to the next oldest and the next oldest and next oldest until I run out, I guess. And then, I don't know, maybe I'll start bringing mediums to work. But I think that if there's like a project where I'm like, oh, I just really want to work on this instead, I'm not going to have any problems subbing that in here and there. Like I have a couple Valentine's Day projects where I'm like, I feel like it would be fun to work on those in February. So I might pull those instead of whatever is like the next small, because those are both smalls. That way maybe I can get those done in the month of February. Or, you know, like similar things like that where I'm like, I know this is the next on the roster, but I'd really rather work on this right now. I don't want to make this like not fun. So that's the plan. And as I go through my WIP parade, I will like mention, you know, this is a small project, medium, large project. So you guys are aware of like what's what. And I'm going to go through the WIPs in chronological order. So you'll see the order that they essentially get worked on, at least in theory, right? So with all that said, let's hop into the WIP parade because I have 47 WIPs. And we'll see how this goes. So I will give you as much information as I possibly can, as quickly as I can, because we've got a lot to go through. So starting with my oldest WIP, this was started on January 1st of 2023. It is the Epic Pokemon Gen 1 by Lord Libidin, and I am stitching this on 18 count Ada in white, and this is by Kato. I'm using all DMC flosses for this. It is a total of 115,200 stitches. I've done 83,266, which means I only have 31,934 left to go. And that is 72.28% done. If I have the percentage, I will be giving it to you guys. If it's a paper pattern, it's more likely that I don't have the percentage. But this is obviously a large project. I've been working on it for quite some time, and I can't even fit the whole thing into the screen because it is so big, but you can see I'm really closing in. And I have been working on this diligently every week, 2,000 stitches minimum a week for 2026, just because I really, really want to get this done. I believe it will be done, actually I can tell you the exact week as of right now because I created like a projection tracker so that I wouldn't lose motivation. It'll be finished the week of April 26th if I don't do more than 2,000 stitches a week, but I've been consistently getting a few more than 2,000, so I just keep it rolled up here. Project number 2 is the other project from 2023. This was started on September 17th of 2023. This is the Quacker Sampler by Star Parade Designs. I'm stitching this on a 32 count blue spruce linen by Zweigart, and I'm using Gentle Arts floss. It has a total of 15,755 stitches. I have done 11,529, which leaves me with 4,226 to go, and this is 73.18% done. I will be working on this today. I've done quite a bit since the last time you guys saw it because I've been really focusing on this. And I believe that between this weekend and next weekend, I will be able to finish this medium-sized project. And that will leave me with one project left from 2023, which is good because I don't like for stuff to sit forever and kind of languish. My struggle with this one has been just the linen is... You'd think like a blue like this would not be that hard to stitch on, but it's weirdly hard for me to stitch on. I don't know why. And here are the Gentle Art threads I've been using. This is just linen. It's called linen. It's not linen, it's cotton, but it's called linen. Like that's not confusing enough. Next we have the last project. Oh no, this is not from 2023. I only have 2 projects from 2023. This one is from the first one from 2024. This is the Slumber Party Sal or Stitch Along by Sewing Starfish. This is on 18 count black Ada by Zweigart. The first Sal I did from them, I actually stayed really on track and I finished it, you know, each week. This one I really fell behind, and I think it's just the colors were not as colorful. It was more heavily pink, and so that's why I just didn't keep up with this one as much, but I do want to finish it. So here is where I'm at. I have, let's see. So in total, this is 23,585 stitches. I've done only 6,529, which leaves me with 17,056 stitches remaining. I'm only at 27.68%. And like I said, this is maybe I didn't say, but this is a medium project. So this will be the next one I take out after I finish my Quacker sampler. My next project is Candy by Whittier Stitches, and I started this on April 15th of 2024. I am doing this on a 28 count sapphire even weave by Fiber on a Whim. I believe this is the called for. I haven't worked on this one in quite a while. I'm using DMC. This is a medium project. It only has 15,532 stitches total, so it really won't take me that long. But I only have 1,779 stitches into it. Looks like, I think I'm doing it this way. Yeah. So here's where I'm at. That leaves me with 13,753 stitches remaining, and that puts me at 11.45%. I have all of like the beads and stuff. I do have all of like the beads and stuff that go with this. It's like all ready to go, but I was really excited about this when it came out, and it's not that I'm not like excited about it. I just have so many other projects that I kept prioritizing, and I don't think this will take me that long. Like I said, it's only 13,000 stitches remaining, and with me working on my medium projects on the weekends when I have quite a bit more time, I really don't see finishing this as being an issue in the year 2026. Next, I have my second big project. It looks like I started one big project a year. So I have one from 2023, this one's from 2024, and then my last big project is from 2025. This is Nostalgic Tarot by the Witchy Stitcher. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this one by now, just because it's a pretty significantly popular pattern, and I've been working on it since May 11th of 2024. This is being done on 14 count black Ada by DMC, and I'm using all DMC threads for it. This pattern was recently completed by the Witchy Stitcher. She had been releasing a couple cards. I think it was like every other month or something like that. I'm not caught up, so like I don't remember. But she did release the total stitch count, and it is 112,065 stitches. So this is actually the second largest project I have going. I have done 14,937 stitches, which means I have 97,128 left to go. I am 13.33% done. I will not be able to show you like the entire thing all at once, but I have finished the entire outer border and all of the card borders. I've finished the very first card, 0, the Fool. Oh my gosh, this is like hard to wrangle all this fabric. And then I've started the next card border, like inner border, because there's like a black and a white border inside. But once I finish with Pokemon, this will be the next large project that I work on until it's finished. But nothing too crazy to say about it. I finally, once I finished the border, it was nice because I could cut off all the excess fabric I had, because I don't trust myself with a ruler these days. But aside from that, like, it's gonna be massive regardless. I think when I eventually finish it, I will have somebody sew it as a tapestry for me, and that's how I will display it. Next is Colors of Summer. And so this one is by Stitchrovia. I'm stitching this, or I started it on June 20th of 2024. On 40 count even weave, it's called Avocado. It's by Bestitch Me, and I'm using DMC for this. So technically it would count for a small, because it's 9,870 stitches, but I hate working on this at work. Like, it's just so much easier to do this one in a stand. And so I just classified it as a medium because I feel like it will get done. It'll be easier to do if I do it at home in my stand. I've done 5,401 stitches, which means I have 4,469 stitches left on this. And I am 54.72% of the way through it. So I finished spring. I have all the other seasons left to go. My next project is another medium project, and this is Squirrels of Sumatra by Ink Circles. I started this on a 32 count even weave by hand dyed by Rolanda, and I'm using hand dyed by Rolanda floss as well. This one has 29,006 stitches, and I have done 9,941, leaving me with a total of 19,065 stitches. I've reached the bottom and the far edge, and that puts me at 34.27%. There's really not much left over here, so I guess I got like the perfect size fabric for this. I just really like the color of the fabric, and so I just found something to stitch on it, to be quite honest. Then on November 1st of 2024, I started another medium project. This is Colors of Mexico by Jan Hicks Creates, and I started this on a 40 count Cloud Break linen by Roxy Floss Co. It has a total of 24,460 stitches, and I'm trying to figure out if oh yeah, this is the right way up. I've done 9,401, which leaves me with 15,059 stitches left. I've gotten again to the bottom and the far side so I could cut off all the excess and just make handling it easier for me. But that puts me at 38.43% done with this project. Then we have Colors of Autumn, which I changed to Colors of Fall. This is another Stitchrovia, which I'm stitching on another 40 count even weave by Bestitch Me. This one is called Fall Foliage. I started on November 27th of 2024, and again, only using DMC. This one is 9,395 stitches. Okay, it said I'd only had like 2,000 stitches done, and I was like, that doesn't look correct to me. But I've done 4,393 stitches on this one, and that leaves me with 5,002 remaining, or 46.76% done. It's just not fun to stitch at work on the 40 count. I don't know why I insist on attempting to. So this is another one that, despite being a small, I classified as a medium. Okay, this one I started on December 8th of 2024. This is Lois's Stocking by Shepherd's Bush, and I think this is like my third restart of it, and I'm pretty sure it's wrong again. So I'm just very over it at this moment in time, even though I want these done. It's just, life's hard. This is an 18 count Rustico Ada by Witcholt. Here is where I'm at, and I think I should have just scooched this up just a little bit more because I don't know that I'm going to have enough space at the bottom, but I'm not yet brave enough to count it because I've done so much on this 3 separate times. I'm using pearl cotton, and I don't know any of the stitch count or anything like that because it is a paper pattern. So if it's a paper pattern and I don't know the stitch count, I just go with my gut and I classify it how I feel it should be. I classified this as a medium just because it's like not a convenient one to carry around because, let me cover up the pattern. You can see like I've got there's a lot going on here. So it's just not easy to carry around, and I'd prefer to work on this one at home. And that was the last 2024 project. So now everything from here on out, I think, will be 2025 because I haven't started anything in 2026 that I haven't finished. So on February 7th of 2025, I started the February Rose-Breasted Cockatoo by Lindy Stitches. And this will actually be my next work project until it is done. I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave by Bestitch Me. It didn't have like a color name. It was just called 207, so that's what I listed it as. I really don't have much. I just have like the border left pretty much. Well, I guess I got parts of the bird too. It just doesn't feel like it's that much left. And I'm using a combination of DMC and Gentle Arts. I've done 1,830 stitches on this, and I'm using a paper pattern, so I don't actually know how much I have left. Oh, I guess for the previous one, the stocking, I've done 1,577. So I guess restarting it really isn't that dramatic as I felt like it was. But yeah, this is where I've gotten to. I have 2 of the gentle arts, and then I'm just kind of subbing in where I feel, because like I didn't feel like buying everything because it uses Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC. And so I guess I subbed in Miss Seda Silk. I used the DMC, and then I subbed in some classic or some gentle arts, I guess. I'm going to have to decipher what I've done because I don't remember. But that one I will be able to certainly finish next week when I'm at work. After that is another small, and it was started on February 14th. This is the Big Hearted Tiny Town by Heart and Hand. I started this when I was on my bachelorette trip, and I didn't get very far because it was a bummer. My grandfather was like actively dying in the hospital, and he called me and my sister called him, and he was like, he just told us like, have a nice life basically, and he didn't end up dying that weekend, but we were both really worried, and it was like just a real damper on the trip. Also, it was like a snowstorm where we were, so didn't get very far. But I'm doing this on a 32 count Heartland linen by Picture This Plus. I'm using DMC because it uses all Classic Colorworks, but like this is so small, and I didn't feel like buying all of those Classic Colorworks. I've only done 259 stitches. And because it's a paper pattern, I don't know any of the other stats, but here it is, very cute. I'm gonna do, this is like the very center house. I haven't even finished the little like flowers on the side. I just did the stems. But it's perfect timing because by the time I finish the February Rose-Breasted Cockatoo, this is the one that I was hoping to pull out for February, and it will definitely get done in or by February, so pretty easy. Next is another small. This was started on February 21st of 2025, and this is the Piero Biscornu. This is by Rowan and Rose. It is being done on an 18 count Aida in the colorway Lagoon by Fiber on a Whim in all DMC. I have done 2,204 stitches. It is 6,980 total, which means I have 4,776 left to go. And I'm 31.58% done. This is just one side of the Biscornu. I haven't started the other one yet. I have to do, there's like the Piero clowns right here. And then I got to do some, I think some red fill in. But it's like 4 colors. It's a very simple Biscornu. I thought it looked really striking in those colors, and I thought I had a good Aida to go with it, so I really like Biscornus. I have done only 2 so far. I'm looking at them. They're on my floor for some reason, but I just want to have like a whole box of them for no reason. They're just fun to finish. On February 28th of 2025, I started the Stardew Valley Sal, which is from 2024. This is by J Does Crafts, and it's on a 16 count yellow Aida that a friend of mine dyed for me, and I'm doing this all in DMC. This is one of those kind of like choose your own kind of stuff Sal. I only worked on this like one weekend, and I only got like 553 stitches into it. I decided to classify it as a medium project. It's probably less than 10,000 stitches total, but because of that finicky nature of like choosing your own stuff and having to like place it yourself, it's a little bit easier to work on something like that at home. But here is where I've gotten to so far, and I think it looks really, really good, but I just need to, I haven't filled these in. I need to do that. I've got a long ways to go, and I would really like to work on this one, but stuff like these take a little bit more brain power for me just because I have to be a little bit more cautious when I'm selecting and placing and stitching. Next we have another small. This is Coffee Time by Ink Circles, and I'm doing this on a 32 count even weave that I dyed myself. I just decided to call it Baby Blue, and I'm using all the called for Classic Colorworks. I finished Tea Time last year, and I have another one of these going. I want to frame all 3 of them in the same manner and put them, because we have a drink, like a coffee, tea, and like all kinds of just different drinks bar. And I thought it would be just cute for them to go up there. But here is where I'm at so far. This one really shouldn't take that long because this in total is 1,198 stitches, and that's almost half, I would say, of this pattern. And it is a paper pattern, so I can't tell you, the full amount until I actually finish it. Oh, wait, but I gotta stitch a big word at the bottom. So probably not quite halfway on this one, but again, it won't take me that long. It's quite small. Then we have Colors of Winter, the last in the Colors of series that I'm planning to stitch, and I want to finish all 4 of them and make an interchangeable display. I started this on March 10th of 2025, and again by Stitchrovia, 40 count even weave by Bestitch Me in the colorway Blue Moon, and again just using DMC. This one I've done 1,620 stitches out of 9,865, which means I have 8,245 left. 16.42% done. I haven't even stitched the top yet. I did come in and stitch a couple of the words because I was worried that the color wouldn't show up very well, but I think it's okay. I'll live with it. I'll survive. But I did them all on the same dyer so that it would all kind of come together, and I wanted to do I wanted to use some of my fun Bestitch Me fabrics because I was part of the Bestitch Me Fabric of the Month Club for a little bit. I would like to join again. I'm just broke as hell right now and cannot comfortably afford it. I could, it's just like, then I would have no money at all. So I like having some money. And again, that's a small project that we're considering a medium, just because, like, same as before. This one I really love. This is Solyanka by Owl Forest, and I'm stitching this actually on the same fabric, 40 count Blue Moon even weave by Bestitch Me. I'm using the Bestitch Me threads. This is definitely a medium project. It is 17,985 stitches total. I've done 1,812. That was just in one weekend. A lot of these that you're seeing now, they've been touched one weekend for like 3 days max. So that's why they all have a similar, I guess, number of stitches done. That means I have 16,173 stitches remaining, and I'm at 10.08% done. This, I just love the meats. I don't know what it is. I'm just like obsessed with these meats hanging. That's what got me on this pattern. I was like, look at all those fun meats that I get to stitch. I don't know why, but I'm very excited to get back to this one. Of my mediums, it looks like it is, I've put them, it's the 10th in order of when I started them. So it'll be a while before I get to this, but I blasted through those stitches. I was having so much fun. I love Owl Forest though. Now we have another small. This is the Rolodex Morning Sampler by Bendy Stitchy Designs. I'm doing this on a 28 count even weave in the color Sand by Picture This Plus, but I'm doing it 1/1 because I was going through this phase where I wanted to do everything 1/1 because it's so cute and tiny. And I still feel that way, but I also want things to be really big. It's like really weird. I want things to be either extra small or bigger than the entire universe. I can't decide. So I'm doing this in Classic Colorworks and Gentle Arts, but I think I'm missing one color. Oh, and there's DMC involved as well. It's involved. So it uses DMC, Gentle Arts, Classic Colorworks, and Color and Cotton. And that's the one that I don't have, is the Color and Cotton. So I'm thinking I will probably just use the DMC because she has a DMC conversion on here. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find any evidence that it even existed. And I really just don't know what to do about that. So I still haven't showed you guys the project, have I? So here is where I'm at so far. It's super cute. It says, no grave can hold my body down. I'll crawl home to her. And when I started this, I did not know that this was from a Hozier song. I was just like, wow, how prophetic, how beautiful, how wife guy of whoever this is. And then I found out it was a Hozier lyric, and I was like a little bit embarrassed that I didn't know that. And then I started listening to the song over and over again, and I was like, okay, I can handle that. I can deal with it. But I am excited to get back to this one because the little 1/1 stitching is so cute, especially on 28 count where it's simple. Oh, and I've done 1,506 stitches on that, but it is a paper pattern, so I don't have any other percentages or anything. Okay, this next one's super embarrassing. So this is Arranging Pasta by Ink Circles. I'm doing this on a 36 count linen that I dyed myself. And I call it the perfect red because I love red linen, red fabric in general. And I'm using Classic Colorworks. I've only done 246 stitches on this because this was the project that I took with me when I went on my honeymoon, and I had better things to do than, I guess, cross stitch. I don't even know which way is up. Hang on. This is up. Okay. So this is as far as I got. Barely any pastas in there. But I love the Arranging series by Ink Circles, so I'm not worried about this not getting work. I mean, I literally bought all of the fancy floss for this itty bitty design because that's how much I love these, that I'm like willing to pay the money for the fancy flosses. So I do have those all in here. Just, it's a small, so it'll come up pretty quickly, I'm sure. But only 246 stitches. So part of the problem was like, I was on my honeymoon, so like we're busy because we went to Universal Studios and we had like lots of stuff to do. And then the lighting in our hotel room was garbage. And then halfway through my honeymoon, I got like a cold, probably from all the stress of wedding planning. And then my immune system was like, we're done. We're over it. So I just didn't want to do anything. This one I started on April 4th of 2025. It's called Beloved. And it is by Running with Needle and Scissors. I'm not doing the whole piece. It's like a big kind of like samplery looking piece. It has like an alphabet and like a border and all that. I didn't like that. I mean, it's not that I didn't like it. It's just not for me, I guess. But I really loved the birds in the center. And so that's what I ended up focusing on. I made a copy and then I had to like jigsaw it together. So I'm counting this one as a small. Yeah, this definitely is a small. I like taped it all together. Like I cut out all these pieces because it's like a huge book of the pattern. And so I had to like make a bunch of different copies, and the pattern is like in colored symbols, so it's like kind of weird to look at for me. I'm not a big colored symbol pattern person. I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave by Bestitch Me, and it is in the color 207. I really like this color a lot, and I'm using all DMC, although it does actually call for an anchor or 2 anchor flosses. It's like all DMC except 2 of these are anchor. Like that just seems a little odd. But I ended up just using, I went online and converted anchor to DMC and just used the DMC because I'd never seen anchor in a store in real life, and I wasn't about to order 2 anchor flosses for this. And then it also uses beads for the bird's eye, so I already put that in. But here's where I'm at. Very like painting, kind of oil painting looking, and with this color as the backdrop, I'm obsessed with it. I'm excited to continue working on this one. I've been thinking about this one a lot lately, and because it's a small, I will get to it soon. I've done only 1,096 stitches. I can't remember if I said that already. And it is a paper pattern, so I don't have any other information. Next, we have April 11th, and this was the Houseplant Sal by Owl Forest Embroidery. This is on a 40 count even weave by Bestitch Me in the color Avocado. If the camera moved at all, it's because I went to go make myself a coffee, and then I moved some things, I guess. But I'm using the Owl Forest threads. This is a medium project, 16,016 stitches, and I've done 18,089. And let's see, that leaves me with 14,127. It looks like I finished, I think, the first two portions of the sal, or at least the first and then part of the second. This, getting that close to the camera just does not do this justice. You can kind of see the color is definitely much brighter in real life than on camera, but this is much closer. It's just really hard to capture for some, especially even weave. It tends to look really weird on my camera for me. But again, this is another one where I was just like having so much fun working on it. I love the Owl Forest threads. I love their patterns. Owl Forest is definitely one of my favorite designers for sure. And the cool thing about Owl Forest is like so much of their stuff is free. Like a lot of their patterns are free and they're good patterns. And, you know, I know that like that's like a way for them to sell their kits and stuff like that. Like, but you can just use DMC if you want. Currently, this is the only artsy housewife I have going. Her patterns, I love her patterns, but they're deceiving because they're so dense compared to what you think they're gonna be. So I've marked this as a small, but I don't know if it's a small because it's a paper pattern. This is coffee and eggs. If anybody, I think, yeah, this has gotta be less than 10,000 stitches, I think. If anybody has the digital version of Coffee and Eggs and wants to tell me the stitch count for this, I would be forever grateful. I'm doing this on a 36 count linen by Picture This Plus called Doubloon. I'm doing it in the DMC and I've done 1,551 stitches. And this is all I have so far. This one feels a lot faster than the other pattern I've done by the Artsy Housewife, which was Beach Rat, because this one is definitely way more color blocky, but I like the colors, very vintage. When this came out, everybody and their mother was doing it, and I really wanted to do it, but I knew that if I started it then, I was going to be annoyed because everybody was doing it, and then I'd be oversaturated with... I'm not, like, not doing it because I'm like, oh, it's no longer cool because everyone's doing it. It's because everyone's doing it, and if I see it too much, I'm not going to want to look at it. That's the real reason. So I put off starting that one for a while. Here's a medium project that I might shift up in the roster just because I'm so desperate to get back to it. This is Monopoly, and it is by C&L Crafts & Co. This is a paper pattern, so I don't know how much it actually, how many stitches it actually is, but I'm assuming it's medium. And I'm doing this on an 18 count Aida. Per the instructions in the pattern, if you do it on an 18 count Aida, it should be proportional to a normal Monopoly board. And I dyed this fabric myself because I was really uptight. I love Monopoly. So I was really uptight about getting a color that was board accurate. And I could not for the life of me find one that was board accurate and wasn't like heavily modeled because I just wanted regular old Monopoly board. And I feel like I did, it's definitely more teal in real life. Let me see if I pull it back. Kind of. It's definitely more teal, but I feel like I did a good job of getting it where I needed to go. It is all DMC, and it is a lot of backstitching. I've done 2,080 stitches, which was one full page of the pattern. So I don't think I don't think it'll be too bad. And my brother works in a jewelry store and he has like access to like the CAD programs and he can like cast stuff. So I would like to have him make the pieces for me for this. And I think that would be really cool. I would love for this to be a functioning Monopoly board. Like I would put glass over it, of course. I don't want people's icky fingers all over it. But I was really proud of myself with getting the color right on the fabric. And I just love that. And that one was started on May 2nd. And then the next one is from May 9th. This is The Cats Have Arrived by Owl Forest Embroidery, which I am stitching on a 32 count even weave called Helix by Picture This Plus. And I really started on one color mainly because I just wanted to get it done because I didn't feel like stitching a bunch of it. later on. So this is 10,974 stitches. I've done 1,175, which leaves me with 9,799, and I'm at 10.71% done. You can see I have been working on a lot of that white just to get it out. My husband really, really likes cats, and so I just thought this would be a cute one to stitch up because we cannot get a cat because he's allergic to cats. So, but I'm stitching this one with the Owl Forest threads, and this is another like just really nice gray fabric. I should have quite a bit left over from that one. I will get a lot of use out of that. For me, like a gray neutral goes a lot further. I prefer gray to like the brown neutrals because I really like the color gray. Next we have Spaghetti Western by Ardith Designs. I think I got pretty far on this one. This is a small, I would consider it, just because it doesn't seem that big. I'm using 32 count linen called Mater Sandwich by Dames of the Needle, and then I believe it's all Gentle Arts for this one, and I did buy the floss for this one. I love a pasta themed pattern. I don't know what it is. Pasta or like cowboy, you got me, and this is both. So I've done 1,708 stitches, and you can see I've gotten some pretty significant progress. I really wanted to get the alphabet done, and I got most of it. I just had a little bit more. I'm not a big alphabet stitcher, but I managed to get it done. And then at the bottom, it says, this is a paper pattern, by the way, so I have no other information. But on the bottom, it says good food and social justice. And not that I don't love me some social justice, but I feel like that's out of place on this pattern. I don't know. It's just like filled with pasta and you're like, also social justice. Like it doesn't seem to go, like in my mind, I don't know. I've stitched a lot of social justice themed patterns. It's just, it doesn't suit this to me. So I think I'm going to change it to either take the text off or say good food and good fun or good friends or something like that, because that just makes more sense to me in my mind. Then on June 6th of 2025, I started OPE by Shippost Samplers. This one is being done on an 18 count white Aida by DMC in DMC floss. I did a conversion just because I wanted to change the colors. Oh, hey, there's a needle in here. Great. Good for me. Maybe I should take that off. So I've done 1,071 stitches. It's a total of 8,610, which means I have 7,539 left and I'm 12% done. So I just got the O. I am looking at the fabric now and I don't know that all 3 letters are going to fit on here. So what I'm going to do instead is stitch the O, stitch the P, and then on a third piece stitch, or like I guess a second piece, stitch the E, and then frame it in like 3 little frames together. I think that'll be that's a good solution. It'll be cute. And I just chose like a teal and a purpley color that I felt like they went well together. And Shippost Samplers is another designer that has a lot of fun free patterns. And they're not that big, a lot of them. Oh my god, this is another like super embarrassing start. So this is 100 Owls by Owl Forest Embroidery. And I should have swapped this around because this was one of my new starts of the week. And I believe it coincided with StitchCon and it was a paper pattern. This is a SAL, I believe, that they did over at Owl Forest. So it's like a little bit harder to follow just the way that the pattern is laid out. Their SALs are kind of, to me, it's like a funky layout. It's not as easy to navigate. But I'm stitching this on a 32 count even weave by Zweigart. It's called Platinum, even though it looks brown to me, and in my head, Platinum's more of a silver. I'm using the Owl Forest threads, and I've only done 231 stitches. And apparently, from my notes, there are 21,066 stitches, which makes this a medium project. I have not even finished one full owl. He's headless. He has no head. He has no feet. I'm 1.1% done. I've got 20,835 stitches remaining. Need to get going on this one. I just haven't. Next, I have my last large project, And this is Death by Cross Stitch by Long Dog Samplers, which I started on June 14th. I'm using a 32 count linen by Laura's Fabric called Majesty, and it is so pretty. And I'm using a color and cotton kind of white toned floss. I've only got 515 stitches in this, and it is 81,316 stitches large. So I'm 0.63% done. So just starting the border, not the strongest start, but I really, really like the colors that I have together. I think the white on this kind of like jammy magenta-y color looks really nice. It's the third in my large project, so I'm not going to have I don't know if this will get touched this year. It just depends on how fast I zoom through Pokemon and my big ol' tarot, so this might be something for next year finish. Got ourselves another Owl Forest, big surprise. This is Forest Houses Raccoons by Owl Forest Embroidery, which I started on the 4th of July, actually, on a 32 count antique white even weave by Zweigart. I'm using the Owl Forest threads. I apparently was really dedicated that weekend, and I got 3,687 stitches done. I'm considering this one a small because I think I'm about halfway, and it looks so good with all that color in there. I really, really like this. I'm glad I chose the antique white. I rarely choose, I always want to do something more fun and colorful, and I always shy away from the white, but I think that this really pops on this white, so I'm glad I picked this. But I really don't feel like I have that much left. Yeah, I would say I'm about halfway looking at the pattern. So this will be an easy finish, I think. But it's paper pattern, so like I said, I don't have any other details. My next small is I am doing my Mediumist by Plastic Little Covers, which I started on July 10th. This would be like a couple days to finish. It's on an 18 count white Aida by DMC, using DMC. I've done 1,679 stitches, and even though it's a digital pattern, I just printed it out and I'm working off the paper because I couldn't get it to work in any of my pattern apps. So I just have to finish mirroring this side, and then there's like some floral details down here. Probably do a little hoop finish for that. On July 15th of 2025, I started Two Horses by the Primitive Needle. This is my first Primitive Needle pattern. I have one other one that I would like to do once I finish this one. I'm using an 18 count Aida that I dyed myself. I named it Cool Gingerbread, and then I'm using DMC, and I've done 1,523 stitches. I'm considering this a small. It's a digital pattern, but I couldn't get it to work in any of my pattern apps, so I'm just working off a paper copy. And here's where I'm at with this freaky little horse. So I really like this guy. There's going to be a tree in the middle, and then another horse will be like on the other side of the tree. So he's fun. On July 18th, I started Bathroom by Stitchy Princess on a light blue 32 count even weave that I dyed myself. And I didn't like the color for what I dyed it for, so I just hung on to it, and then it ended up working for this. I'm just using the DMC, and this one I've done only 426 stitches. It's only 2,198 stitches large, but we were going out of town for, I think, Polish and Beauty Expo, and so the lighting in the hotel room wasn't great, and I was busy, so this is all I got. But this would be another one that I can just bang out in a couple stitching sessions, no problem. On July 25th, I started Harvest Season Cucumbers by none other than Owl Forest Embroidery on a 32 count Helix even weave by Picture This Plus. I am, of course, using the Owl Forest flosses. Got a pretty fun chunk done here. Got a little like garlic piece. This is, let's see, only 4,055 stitches. That's not bad. And I've done 1,197, which puts me at 29.52%. I only have 2,858 left to go. So this will be a quick small to finish up. I'm not even like a pickle freak. I just really like pickle themed stuff lately. Next is The Birdman Cometh by Little Robin Designs. This is one that I've wanted to do ever since I first saw it. Just the colors are so fun. I'm doing it on 32 count Mater Sandwich Linen by Dames of the Needle. And I worked on this one, I think, while I was watching a documentary about that Ren Fair in Texas. So it's like burned in my mind that these are associated with each other. Somehow I know the stitch count of this. I don't know why I know the stitch count. Oh, because they put it on the pattern. I was like, this is a paper pattern. Why do I know the stitch count? It is 9,286 stitches, and I've done 1,920, which puts me at 20.68%. This one's not, it's really close to that 10,000 mark, so I'm calling it a small. I don't think it's really that difficult to work on, so I don't think I'll have any issue bringing this to work with me or anything like that. I'm using the DMC. As much as I like the overdyes, I just didn't feel like paying for them. So I figured the DMC would be fine. Next is another one from Plastic Little Covers. This is called Going Into a Spiral, and I'm using 18 count White Ada by DMC again. And I've done, let's see, 1,440 stitches, and it is a total of 6,799 stitches, which means I'm 21.18% done. And it's going to say, like, going into a spiral, does anyone want anything, or does anyone need anything? I can't remember, but I really like the colors and the design. I thought it was funny, so I'll have that to finish. I don't know if I want to put that in a hoop or not. It depends on the shape of it, I guess. Then on August 27th, I started Harlequin Biscornu, which is by Rowan & Rose. This is by the same person who did the Piero Biscornu. I bought this as a pack, and you can see it's just like a little harlequin guy. Actually, I think this is it. So this is 18 count Black Ada by Kato. Doing it all in DMC. Total stitch count is 7,008 stitches, and I've done 1,127, which means I've only done 16.08%. This one was another one we were going, I think we were on a trip when I started this one. Maybe not. I don't remember. I remember being on a trip and working on this, but now I'm not so sure. But yeah, that one is cute. That's another Biscornu I'm going to love. This is a Janlynn kit called the 7th Star. I started this on September 5th of 2025. And I'm just using all the kit stuff, like the fabric, which is a 14 count Black Ada. I'm pretty sure it uses DMC. And I've done 1,150 stitches. And this one, it's not so easy to work off of the paper pattern, just because there's a lot of like colors that are similar, and, you know, to get that blend of the beard, and there's like quarter and half stitches, or maybe just half stitches, I don't know. But I know that in the beard, I definitely made some like color errors, but I made sure that the outer edge of the beard is accurate, at least in shape, to the pattern, so that we don't have any problems going forward. But it's a pretty chunky pattern, and I'm hoping that I don't mess up too bad, because it's an older kit. I bought it off of eBay. Okay, I think we've got like 10-ish left. So this one is Mushroom Hunting by Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm doing this on a 40 count linen called Nothing Rhymes with Orange by The Sewing Shop. And I'm doing this in the Owl Forest threads. This is 18,041 stitches, and I've only done 1,091. I just did the first motif here, so I'm 6.05% done. I know it's a little bit blendy, but I feel like it does pop enough. I saw this orange fabric, and I was like, I have to have that. And I feel like this pattern will go well with it. So I do a lot of Owl Force on 40 count for some reason. And every time I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? And yet I continue to do it. On September 19th, I started A Witchy Tea Time by Gail Busey. I don't know how to say her name, and I don't like saying it. It's being done on a 32 count even weave called Nightshade by Bestitch Me. And this is from a magazine, so I don't have many details for you. I just know that I've done 1,195 stitches, and I'm doing it with all DMC, and I think it's pretty cute. That owl looks totally deranged without his wings and eyes, so I need to work on that some more, but very, very soft color palette. And I rarely stitch anything like that, so I was kind of intrigued by it, and I'm glad that I started it because I did enjoy stitching on it when I worked on it. I'm trying to blast through these because I got things to do. I got another video I need to film. So on October 10th, I started Cocoa Time by Ink Circles. You guys remember Coffee Time from earlier? This is in that same kind of series. And I dyed a 32 count even weave in what I call baby pink. And here is where I got to. I'm more than halfway done with the top part, but I do have to stitch the word cocoa at the bottom as well. And this is all Classic Colorworks. I've done 1,783 stitches, but because it is a paper pattern, I don't have the total stitch count available. Oh, and the cute thing about this one is, so where this alcohol bottle is, there was just another cinnamon stick, but they give you a couple different options to kind of input in there. If you don't want to do the cinnamon stick, you can do a bottle of Bailey's, which is what I did, because Bailey's and hot cocoa is pretty good. Next we have Pretty Polly by Hands Across the Sea. I think this is my first Hands Across the Sea pattern. And I'm doing it on an 18 count black Aida. I definitely thought it was going to look better than I feel like it does. I'm using Aida from RTO, I believe, and DMC floss. It's 4,269 stitches. I've done 1,068, so I'm at 25.02%. I guess I just thought the colors were going to pop against the black a little bit more than they do. I still like it, but I just wish that maybe I had gone with a different... And who knows, like maybe once it's done, I will like it more. Who knows? I just did it because I liked it because it's a bird. And in this house, we like birds. So on October 24th, I started Halloween Tiny Town. This one definitely I got a lot further on than the other Tiny Town. This is Heart and Hand. Same linen, 32 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. Only using DMC. And I've done 1,214 stitches. However, because it's a paper pattern, I don't have any more details than that. But I am glad I went with the DMC. I like that it looks a little bit punchier than using a variegated. I really like the solid colors on this. And I want to do both of them as drum finishes. Okay, this one I can't even believe I let carry over because I finished all of the others in this particular pattern set. But this is Noël en Rouge Santa by Lila's Studios. And I'm doing it on a 32 count Ivory Jobelin by somebody, Witchelt. And I'm doing it in all DMC. This is definitely a small. I've done 666 stitches. And it's going to be like a little Santa Christmas sweater. I should have just banged this out around Christmas, but now I don't feel like working on it. So I guess I will work on it next Christmas, and then I will finish all 4 of them together as different little ornaments. Actually, I might try to finish it before I go to my next retreat so that I can just relinquish that pattern to somebody else who would want it. I'm going to set this out. I should do that. That would be a smarter thing to do, I think. Oh my gosh, another owl forest. This is Forest House's Beavers this time. And I'm doing it on a 32 count even weave called Lichen by Picture This Plus. I did not get as far on this one as I did on the other one, but I am using the Owl Forest threads. 8,016 stitches total in this pattern. I've done 1,353. Looking cute. Loving it. And I've got 16.88% done. This is obviously considered a small. Definitely probably easier to work on at home. Actually, no, because I have the digital version of this pattern, so not so bad. But yeah. This isn't even the last Owl Forest. I got 2 patterns left, but it's not the last Owl Forest. That's absurd. I love Owl Forests, apparently. This one is Cicada Season. I started this on April 22nd, and it is by Boomerang Stitches. I'm doing it on an 18 count white perforated paper, rest in peace perforated paper, by Mill Hill, and I'm using the DMC. This is one that I should have finished at the time, but I didn't because of my own stupidity. So I finished the Cicada shell portion, and in total, the whole pattern is 5,772 stitches. I've done 4,715, but because I decided to fill in the wing with DMC specialty threads to give it kind of like a translucent look, it's a lot harder to do. And there's a few that I'm like, oh, this looks like shit. I should probably pull it out and redo it. Great. They're a lot harder to use. So it's not as fun to work on, even though I really want the finished piece. So, and I gotta remember to not put that in my stuffed full bin of projects so it doesn't bend the paper. Okay, this was my last scheduled new start of last year. This is Alice in Wonderland by, you guessed it, Owl Forest Embroidery. I'm doing this on a 44 count linen that I found at StitchCon on the freebie table. I don't know who it's by. I don't know how many stitches is in this because it's a paper pattern that it's like a sal, and I don't have the app that you use with the Owl Forest. They use like, is it Saga? I don't know. But I know that because it's like Russian, they were like, we're not having that in the app store anymore. And I was like, okay, guess I don't have that. But I did part 1 of the sal, which is the very center gate. I'm doing the tri-color version. This is 1,700 stitches roughly. And I like that. I'm glad I did the tri-color. I think the full color one is really fun, but I think the tri-color on this fabric is going to look really, really good, even though it's like 44 count linen. Golly. And then you'd think that would be the last start of 2026 or 2025, but it wasn't, because I decided to start one more thing. Because once I finished the first part of the sal, I was like, kind of like, I don't feel like stitching on 44 count linen right now. So I busted out this project, which is, it's called Canto Badges by, how do you say this? Is it Cerithri? And I'm doing it on a 14 count clear white plastic canvas, and all in DMC. And these are, I've only done 224 stitches, but these are just the original gym badges from, why are you not focusing? Okay, I guess we're not focusing. These are the original gym badges from the original Pokemon, and I am going to stitch them, and then I bought some pin backs to put on them, and I'm gonna put the pins on something. And it's funny because it's like the total pattern is 1,070 stitches. The color list, so this is page 1 of the color list, and then there's a second page with 4 more stitches on there, or 4 more colors on there. A lot of colors for an itty bitty pattern, but it's an easy one to stitch. So yeah, that is everything. This is my WIP box that I keep next to my chair, or where I sit on the couch, where my light is, and they're all in there in order of chronological, so it's easier for them to be found. But I have kind of my plan going forward on how I'm going to stitch on stuff, and hopefully I can get through quite a few of them this year. I don't have a problem with having a lot of WIPs. It doesn't really bother me. I have a problem with having a lot of old WIPs. That's what bothers me. So I want to bust through as much 2024 stuff that I can, which all of my 2024 stuff is medium anyways, so that'll be all weekend stitching. But as I'm finishing a lot of like the smalls, I'll probably add more smalls because I have a lot of stuff kitted. So anyways, that's everything. I hope this wasn't 8,000 years long. It probably is. I'm starving and I have to film my regular floss tube, so I need to go eat something and also do some work at my job. So hope you guys are enjoying your stitching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.